Chosen one, if you truly knew what was headed your way, you wouldn't hesitate for a second. You wouldn't hide. You wouldn't fear. You wouldn't question your path or linger in the shadows of doubt. No, you would rise. You would run toward it with your arms open wide, because what's coming isn't meant to destroy you. It's meant to crown you. It's not here to punish, but to awaken the royal, divine fire within you that you've tried so hard to dim just to make others feel comfortable. The future that's being written right now isn't some random string of chances. It's sacred design. It's destiny folded in brilliance. And you are ready. You've been prepared for this moment, through the trials, through the silence, through every delay that felt like abandonment. It wasn't rejection. It was redirection, refinement, rebirth. Chosen one, if you knew how close you were to seeing your desires unfold in the most unbelievable ways, you'd never doubt again. You would walk with a confidence the world has never seen. Every prayer, every tear, every sleepless night that echoed with silent pleas was not in vain. The universe has been listening. The energy has been gathering. The door has been creaking open. Wishes that once felt too far away are now gathering momentum like a wave, ready to crash gloriously into your life. But only if you dare to stay the course. Only if you choose to believe when everything says you shouldn't. Watch this video until the very end, and if your spirit resonates with this message, type your warmest wishes in the comments along with the number 77. This act alone can send a new pulse into the universe, an echo of readiness, a signal of alignment. Now, like this video, subscribe to the channel, and let's dive deeper. You've been asking for signs. You've been waiting for confirmation. Well, consider this it. Not a coincidence, not an accident, but a divine appointment. The message has found you because it was meant for you. What's coming isn't just a change in your circumstances. It's a transformation in your identity. You will not just receive, you will become. The old you is being peeled away, layer by layer, not as a punishment, but as a preparation. You can't carry the weight of destiny with the hands of your past. You must let go. Let go of the shame, the fear, the limiting beliefs that whisper lies in the quiet moments. Let go of who they said you are. Let go of the timelines they forced you into. You are not late. You are right on time for what's yours. If you knew what was ahead, you wouldn't hesitate to release the doubt. You wouldn't entertain the fear. You wouldn't shrink back when the spotlight turns your way. Because what's coming requires your full presence. Your soul must meet it head on, no longer hiding behind past wounds or waiting for perfection. This moment, this now, is what everything has been building toward. Every delay was a divine setup. Every hardship was shaping your strength. Every moment of stillness was anchoring your faith. And now, the shift is here. Not tomorrow, not someday. Now. But it won't look like thunder in the sky. It won't always feel like fireworks in your chest. Sometimes, it's just the quiet knowing that everything is about to change. You don't need to know how it will happen. You just need to know that it will. This is your permission to drop the how and embrace the what. What's coming is the fulfillment of ancient promises. Some you don't even remember making. Your soul made agreements before your mind could understand them. And now it's time to collect on what's already yours. This is more than manifestation. This is orchestration. Your steps are being ordered in ways that even angels marvel at. The people you're about to meet, the opportunities you're about to walk into, the breakthroughs you're about to receive, they are already on the way. And when you feel unworthy, remember this: The path chose you. The blessing was assigned to your name. Nothing can change that. But you must stay awake, stay ready, stay willing. The universe doesn't reward perfection. It rewards alignment. And every time you choose to believe instead of retreat, to move forward instead of freeze, you send out a signal that says, "I'm ready." And the universe responds accordingly. Do not underestimate the power of your yes. Do not downplay the importance of your obedience to that inner nudge. You don't need anyone's permission to evolve. You don't need proof to proceed. Faith is the evidence. Your belief is the gateway. And once you fully step into who you were created to be, you'll begin to attract things so divine that your past self wouldn't even know how to receive them. There's a reason you're still standing, a reason you survived what others didn't, a reason you feel a fire inside that won't go out no matter how hard life has tried to extinguish it. That reason is your calling. It's your future echoing back to you, reminding you to keep going, to rise, to run. Because what's coming doesn't require a hesitant heart. It needs a courageous soul. The kind that doesn't flinch at the unknown, but welcomes it. The kind that doesn't run away from change, but toward it. You are that soul. You are that light. You are that chosen one. And your time? It's now. You don't have to know every detail of what's coming in order to be ready. Readiness is not about having every answer. It's about having the posture to receive. It's about standing tall, even when the fog hasn't lifted, even when you can't quite see what's beyond the next step. If you knew the power of what was on its way, you'd be preparing right now, not out of fear, but with fierce joy. You'd be stretching your hands, expanding your vision, rearranging your inner world to make room for something so holy, it could only come from beyond this realm. Chosen one, this isn't just a new chapter, it's a new volume. The old rules no longer apply. The limits that once kept you bound are being broken. And the moment you recognize that, you begin to rise differently. You walk differently. You speak with more conviction. Your presence becomes magnetic, not because you're chasing attention, but because you've stopped apologizing for your existence. And when you show up as your true self, unapologetic, alive, and grounded in purpose, the future rushes to meet you like it's been waiting for you all along. What's coming will not cater to your comfort. It will pull you out of it, stretch your spirit, and require you to let go of what you once clung to for safety. But don't confuse discomfort with danger. The shaking you feel isn't a warning, it's a preparation. The universe is making space for you to walk into the room as the version of yourself that was once only a vision. No more shrinking, no more delaying. This is where you stop bracing for the worst and start expecting the miraculous. Because what's coming will not meet you in hesitation. It will find you in motion. You've seen glimpses already, the dreams that refuse to die, the signs that kept appearing at just the right moment, the inner knowing that never left, even when you doubted it. These were not accidents. They were coordinates, clues that pointed toward the timeline that was always meant for you. And though you felt like you were wandering, you were never lost. You were being recalibrated, directed, aligned. There are timelines where your light was never seen, but this isn't one of them. In this life, your brilliance is required, your voice is needed, and your arrival has been anticipated. Run toward it. Run with your heart wide open, with every scar and every story. The pain didn't disqualify you. It made you deeper, wiser, braver. What you thought was breaking you was actually building you for this very moment. The heaviness wasn't meant to crush you, but to show you your strength. You carried what others would have dropped, You endured what seemed unendurable. That endurance became your compass. That resilience became your crown. And now, the divine is positioning you, not based on popularity or credentials, but based on alignment and readiness. You are being summoned not for what you've done, but for who you are becoming. And the ones who once overlooked you will be astonished. Not because you fought for their approval, but because you finally stopped needing it. You stopped performing, you stopped pretending, and you finally chose your truth. That truth is what unlocks the floodgates. That truth is what allows the favor to flow freely. Chosen one, you didn't survive all that darkness just to return to who you were before it. No, you went through it so you could emerge unrecognizable, not to the world, but to your old self. This new version of you is bolder, freer, more aware of the sacredness of time and energy. You don't waste it anymore. You don't chase what's not yours. You walk in peace, knowing what's meant for you will never miss you. And if it misses you, it was never meant for the fullness of your soul. Everything around you is responding to this shift. The universe has been whispering to you in signs, in dreams, in divine timing. And now those whispers are growing louder. The veil is thinning. The next season isn't a continuation. It's a divine leap. But only those who trust the invisible will land on what cannot be explained. You're not here to play small. You're here to disrupt patterns, to rebuild from truth, to remind the world of what alignment looks like. And that begins by running, not from the unknown, but into it. Even your waiting has served a purpose. It wasn't punishment, it was incubation. Every not yet was sacred timing in disguise. Every delay was a divine setup for acceleration. Now, the gears are moving. The veil is lifting. And what once felt slow will suddenly feel like everything's happening at once. Don't resist it. Don't try to make it make sense to people who are never called to understand it. Protect the vision. Guard your spirit. Honor your yes. If you knew what was coming, you'd be preparing your table, not begging to be chosen. You'd be clearing space, not out of fear of loss, but in bold expectation of gain. And while the world panics and clings to old systems, you will rise with quiet certainty, because your knowing doesn't come from trends, it comes from truth. Your peace isn't circumstantial, it's spiritual. Your joy isn't hype, it's rooted. And your breakthrough? It's already on the calendar of the divine. There's a shift happening that logic can't explain. You've felt it in your bones before the evidence ever appeared. You've sensed it in the silence, heard it in the stillness, and watched it flicker in the spaces between moments. This isn't just about something coming toward you. It's about something rising within you, something ancient, something royal, something that's been waiting for the right moment to ignite. And now, that moment is arriving, slowly at first, like dawn pressing against the horizon. Then suddenly, like sunlight, flooding a room that's been dark for years. Chosen one, the time for hesitation is over. You've lingered at the edge of your breakthrough long enough. You've stared at the gate, held the key in your hand, and doubted if you were ready. But the truth is, you were always ready. Not because you've perfected every part of your life, but because you've surrendered to something higher. You've stopped trying to control the wind and started learning how to sail. And now, everything is shifting because you have shifted. Your vibration has changed. Your awareness has expanded. You've grown too big for the version of your life that once felt safe. What's coming cannot be contained in the old definitions. It won't be packaged in what you thought success should look like. It will defy timelines, rewrite patterns, and shatter ceilings, because it's not meant to look like anything you've seen before. You were never meant to blend in. You weren't sent here to replicate. Your path is unique, untamed, and wildly divine. So stop waiting for permission to run. Stop asking for approval from people who only understand the older version of you. You've been appointed. And when heaven appoints, earth must align. If you knew what was coming, you wouldn't be doubting yourself right now. You wouldn't be second-guessing that inner nudge. You wouldn't be questioning whether the path is real. Because deep down, you've always known it is. You were just waiting for the outside world to reflect what your soul already felt. But now is not the time to wait for confirmation. Now is the time to become the confirmation. To walk like someone who is already chosen. To move like someone who is already crowned. To rise like someone who has already seen the promise in their spirit and said, "Yes, I'm ready." The things that used to shake you don't carry the same power anymore. The things that once made you question your worth no longer hold weight in your world. That's not by accident. That's transformation. That's the sign you've outgrown the old scripts. You've outgrown the need to be understood by everyone. You've outgrown the versions of yourself that had to hustle for validation. What's coming doesn't require a watered-down version of you. It needs all of you. The raw, real, radiant essence that you tried to hide because you thought it was too much. But you were never too much. You were always more than enough. And what's coming will prove that to you. Not because you need external proof, but because it's simply the echo of the energy you've been carrying all along. There's nothing accidental about your existence. Nothing random about your pain. Even your detours were data. Even your delays were design. And now, the equation is solving itself. Not because you forced it, but because you trusted it. That trust is what's magnetizing the miracles. That faith is what's parting the sea. So, what now? You prepare, not out of panic, but with peace. You stretch, not because you're desperate, but because you're making room. You elevate your mind, guard your energy, and move like someone who has already seen the mountain peak from the valley. Because this next part, it doesn't ask for small steps. It demands bold ones. It calls for the kind of courage that makes people stare in awe. And you, chosen one, have that courage. Not because you were born fearless, but because you chose faith, even in the presence of fear. There's no turning back. The version of you that questioned your own light has been buried. The version of you that settled for crumbs has been exiled. What's being born now is the leader, the healer, the builder, the visionary, the one who doesn't wait to be told what to do, but who listens to the whisper within and moves with sacred certainty. You don't need to be the loudest in the room. Your presence speaks louder than any performance. Your alignment does more than any strategy. And your energy, it's undeniable. What's coming will test you, but not to break you, to reveal you, to awaken parts of you that comfort never could. It will challenge your narratives, stretch your identity, and call you higher. But you will not bend under the weight of it. You were built for this. Every part of your past was training. Every failure was a forge. And now, the fire has become fuel. The pain has become power. The journey has become a weapon against every lie that tried to keep you small. Chosen one, there's no need to fear the future. It's not coming to take from you, it's coming to bless you. But it needs your full participation, not your partial effort, not your maybe one day energy. It needs your full yes, your full commitment, your full surrender. If you knew what was coming, you'd already be walking differently. You'd already be speaking with more authority. You'd already be celebrating in advance, because the next wave is already in motion. And it's not waiting on your fear. It's waiting on your faith. There's a moment in every chosen one's journey where the silence grows so loud it feels deafening. A moment when you look around and see no evidence of what you've been told to believe in, where promises feel distant, where movement seems stalled, and all the world offers is noise, doubt, and delay. And yet, something inside of you remains unshaken, not because everything is clear, but because something within whispers, "Hold on, it's coming." That whisper is not your imagination. That whisper is your inheritance speaking. If you knew what was coming, you wouldn't flinch at the quiet. You'd bless the stillness. You'd honor the empty spaces like sacred ground because you'd understand. This is where destiny begins to stir. This is where heaven does its finest work. Behind the curtain, away from the applause, in the silence that grows character instead of ego. You've not been buried, you've been planted. And what's sprouting now won't just bear fruit, it will change landscapes. What's been growing in your spirit is too large for the containers of your past life. And now, the soil is breaking open. You've reached the threshold, the place where the former version of you cannot cross into what's ahead. The ego wants control, but the soul craves surrender. And if you knew the beauty that was on the other side of that surrender, you would let go without hesitation. The control was never safety. It was survival. But this next chapter isn't about surviving. It's about soaring. And soaring requires trust. Not in the wind, but in your wings. You didn't grow them for decoration. They're for the flight that begins the moment you stop waiting and start becoming. Everything you feared would break you has only refined you. You are not fractured. You are fortified. Your scars are not shameful. They're sacred. They are proof that the fire tried but failed, that the storm raged but didn't sweep you away. And now the weather has shifted, not because the conditions have changed, but because you have. You've become a storm in your own right, a force of clarity, courage, and conviction. The kind of soul that doesn't wait for safe passage, but walks into the waters and makes the sea part. Do you feel that stirring in your spirit? That rising pressure that refuses to be ignored? That is not anxiety. That is acceleration. That's the pulse of a new season wrapping itself around your life. It doesn't come with fireworks. It comes with divine pull. A pull that says, "This is your time." You won't need to push your way in. The doors are opening, not because of who you know, but because of what you carry. You've become too aligned to be denied, too prepared to be overlooked, too destined to be delayed, and yet the world may not see it at first. Let them doubt, let them question, let them underestimate. It will only make your arrival louder. You're not coming to prove anything. You're coming to fulfill everything, not for validation, but for completion. You're not here to argue with people about who you are. You're here to walk in such power that your presence speaks for you. You're here to be undeniable, not because you shout, but because you resonate. The kind of energy that cannot be faked, the kind of presence that cannot be copied. If you knew what was coming, you'd already be preparing your atmosphere. You'd be speaking with more care, thinking with more clarity. You'd be aligning every action, every decision, every breath with the future that's trying to rush into your present. That future doesn't need your perfection. It needs your agreement. It needs you to say yes without knowing how, to believe without seeing, to trust without guarantees. Because the most miraculous breakthroughs never knock. They arrive through unlocked hearts. You are that unlocked heart. And now, everything is beginning to respond to your vibration. The people who will pour into you, the opportunities that will elevate you, the favor that will follow you. It's all beginning to orbit around you like planets drawn to a new gravitational force. And that force is your alignment. Your frequency has changed. You've stopped pleading with life and started collaborating with destiny. And destiny is responding. Chosen one, this is what it means to be in season, to be ripe with potential, to walk with grace under pressure, to see the storm coming and still say, I was built for this, because you were. You've been forged in fire, polished in silence, trained in rejection, and now you are rising with a force that even you can barely comprehend. But don't wait to understand it. Just walk in it. Just own it. Just trust that what's ahead has always been waiting on your arrival. This is more than a season. It's a culmination, a divine intersection between who you were and who you're becoming. And you can't delay it any longer by clinging to who you used to be. It's time to let go of the mask, the roles, the scripts that kept you safe but stagnant. You were never meant to play small. You were never meant to stay hidden. The light in you is no longer manageable. It's time to rise, boldly, freely, unapologetically, and most of all, without delay. Chosen one, you were never meant to merely witness change. You were meant to ignite it. You're not here to watch the world shift from the sidelines. You're the pulse, the spark, the signal that awakens the atmosphere. And what's coming for you is not simply an upgrade. It's a complete unlocking, an unveiling of layers of truth that have been buried beneath years of survival. But now, survival is no longer your mode. Awakening is, expansion is, mastery is. If you knew what was coming, you wouldn't resist the breaking. You'd welcome it like rainfall after a drought, knowing that everything that feels like it's falling apart is actually falling into place. The breaking isn't your undoing, it's your unveiling. The pressure you feel isn't punishment, it's proof that something new is pressing through. Growth doesn't come with comfort, and destiny doesn't arrive with a warning label. It shows up unannounced, but not uninvited. Your faith invited this. Your soul signed for this. And now, the package is being delivered. This next season of your life will require less explanation and more embodiment. You won't have time to convince people of your calling. You'll be too busy walking in it. The conversations you used to entertain will feel too small. The environments that once fit you will feel like echoes. That's not arrogance. That's alignment. That's what happens when your spirit evolves faster than your surroundings. You're not better than anyone. You're just becoming someone no one's ever seen before, not even you. You'll feel it in subtle ways at first. The urge to say no when you used to say yes. The lack of appetite for what once consumed your time. The inability to stay in rooms where your spirit shrinks. These are sacred signs, evidence that your soul is preparing itself to host the future. And if you knew what was coming, you'd honor those signs with the reverence they deserve, because they are not coincidences, they are confirmations. The universe is already editing your path, trimming away the unnecessary so that the extraordinary can finally arrive. Chosen one, the reason it hasn't happened yet is because it wasn't time. But now, time is no longer the barrier. Time has caught up to your preparation. The path has caught up to your frequency. You no longer have to fight your way forward. Now, your only job is to align, to synchronize with the rhythm of what is already written. Because what's coming is not random, it is authored, and you are not wandering, you are arriving. This moment is not about striving, it's about receiving, not with the hands of desperation, but with the soul of certainty. You no longer have to earn what's already yours. You just have to embody the version of yourself who believes it, who expects it, who prepares for it, not out of fear of loss, but out of reverence for the promise. You prepare for it the way royalty prepares to receive a coronation, with quiet resolve and sacred stillness. And when it begins to happen, and it will, you'll remember these words. You'll remember that you were never behind. You'll remember that the delays were never denials. You'll remember that the people who left were only making space for those who were aligned with your next level. What's coming will redeem the time. It will explain the silence. It will make sense of the seasons that made you question your own spirit. Because that's what divine alignment does. It doesn't just arrive, it heals everything it touches. If you knew what was coming, you'd already be letting go of what no longer carries your name. Not out of bitterness, but out of clarity, out of conviction. You don't need to drag the old story into the new season. The version of you that tolerated too much, questioned too often, and dreamed too small doesn't get to lead this next chapter. You've done the work, you've passed the test, and now it's time for the reward. But only if you show up for it as your true self. And your true self? They're ready. Ready to be seen. Ready to be poured into. Ready to walk into rooms they used to pray about and own their space. Ready to stop asking, why me? And start declaring, of course me. Because this path was never a coincidence. It was carved specifically for your soul. Every encounter, every lesson, every closed door and divine delay has been pointing here. And now it's your moment to stop wondering if you're worthy and start acting like it. The resistance you feel is not a wall. It's a mirror, a final invitation to choose yourself before the world does. To recognize your value before the spotlight arrives. Because when it does, it will be bright, it will be fast, and you must be anchored, not in applause, but in purpose, not in praise, but in presence. Because what's coming will require a version of you that doesn't flinch under the weight of miracles. You're not chasing what's coming, you're becoming it. And once you do, the gates will swing open, the paths will part, and the heavens will respond with one word. Finally, there is a moment, quiet, almost imperceptible, when destiny shifts from theory into form. Not with explosions or applause, but with presence. And chosen one, that moment is now. You are not waiting for the breakthrough anymore. You are the breakthrough. You're not hoping to be chosen. You've already been. And everything that's happening around you is responding to this knowing that lives in your bones. You are ready. You've come through the dark nights, not empty, but deepened, sharpened. And now, the light doesn't just find you, it flows from you. You don't just walk into the room, you shift it. You don't just speak, you transmit. Because what's rising inside you isn't charisma or charm, it's a divine frequency, and it's unmistakable. You no longer ask the world for permission. You no longer need to be understood. You carry your own weather now. You are your own proof. If you knew what was coming, you'd feel no fear about what you're leaving behind. You'd stop trying to explain your growth. You'd release the need to be relatable. You'd realize you're not evolving to fit in. You're evolving to lead. What's about to meet you can't survive in your old environment. That's why things fell away. That's why old paths dried up and familiar voices faded. Because what's coming for you requires space, not noise. Elevation, not distraction. Peace, not people-pleasing. You are not late to your purpose. You are arriving right on divine time. You are never behind, never forgotten. The universe was only making sure you were unshakable before it gave you what was uncontainable. And now that you've tasted the silence, You'll recognize the sacredness of sound. Now that you've lived through the stripping away, you'll know how to wear your crown without ego. What's coming will not build your identity. It will confirm it. This isn't the reward for your struggle. This is the alignment with your assignment. The unfolding of a story written before the beginning, now finally catching up to you. All of the detours have merged into one straight line. All of the doubts have been answered by your resilience. You have become a living manifestation of patience, of persistence, of divine timing. And now, heaven is moving toward you, not with tests, but with fulfillment. You've crossed a threshold, and there's no going back, not emotionally, not spiritually, not mentally. You've seen too much to settle. You've shed too much to shrink. The soil you stand on now is sacred, not because of where you are, but because of who you've become. And that's what makes you unstoppable. Not the plans you've made, not the followers you gain, but the version of you that finally decided to believe that this life wasn't meant to be endured, it was meant to be inhabited. Now, you walk with reverence, with a fire that can't be explained, with a joy that has survived the ashes. Now, you hold space for others, not because you need to be needed, but because you've become the space itself. You no longer chase timelines. You trust alignment. You no longer look for signs. You are the sign. And the more you become, the more everything around you aligns. The shift isn't coming, it's happening. With each step you take, you echo with the momentum of every sacred no, every divine delay, every hidden yes that was whispered when the world said, wait. That's the sound of prophecy unfolding, of timelines collapsing, of purpose arriving. And now, chosen one, you don't just walk into what's next, you command it. Not by force, but by frequency. Not with control, but with conviction. The preparation is complete. The stage is set. And the version of you who once wondered when it would all make sense has now become the answer to that very question. What's coming isn't the end of the journey. It's the beginning of the becoming. And you are not just running toward it. You are already in motion. There is a point when the waiting ends, not because the conditions suddenly change, but because you change. And you, chosen one, have reached that point. You are no longer simply waiting for something to happen. You have become the signal that initiates it. You are no longer hoping for alignment. You are alignment. You don't need to be reminded anymore of who you are. You've stepped fully into that knowing. And now everything is adjusting around that truth. It's not arrogance, it's clarity. It's not pride, it's presence. When you carry divine purpose with conviction, the atmosphere has no choice but to respond. That's why things feel lighter now, not because life has become easy, but because you've become stronger. You don't carry everything anymore. You discern. You don't entertain what drains you. You protect your frequency. And in doing so, you've become magnetic to what is meant for you. If you knew what was coming, you'd stop trying to calculate the steps. You'd let your intuition lead. You'd know that no plan, no map, no logic can touch the precision of divine guidance. You'd follow the pull instead of the pressure. You'd move when the energy says move, not when the world gives you permission. And in doing that, you'd begin to live outside the rules that keep most people small. You've walked through doors no one else saw. You've survived fires that left no ashes behind. You've been refined in a way that left you invisible to the ordinary. That's why what's coming is not ordinary. Your next level requires no announcements, no approval, no applause. It just is. And you'll feel it the moment it arrives, not because it shouts, but because it matches your energy exactly. This is not about destiny arriving. This is about you becoming the version of yourself that destiny has been waiting for. The version that doesn't shrink. The version that doesn't second guess. The version that no longer apologizes for evolving faster than others are comfortable with. You didn't grow to make others feel safe. You grew to fulfill something holy. You don't owe the past an explanation. You owe the future your full presence. You are no longer rising. You have risen. And while the world may try to place you back into the context of who you used to be, they will fail. Because the new you can't be defined by old stories. You've broken every mold, undone every narrative, shattered every limitation that once kept you quiet. You don't play roles anymore, you embody truth. And that truth isn't loud, it's undeniable. So, walk like the future is watching. Speak like the promise has ears. Move like your steps are forming the path as you go, because they are. You are not following a blueprint anymore. You are the blueprint. Others will look at you and wonder how you're doing it, and they won't understand. It's not hustle, it's harmony. It's not pressure, it's precision. You're no longer rushing, you're remembering. And if you knew what was coming, you wouldn't question your capacity. You'd recognize that you were built for exactly what's on its way. The magnitude of what's forming will not overwhelm you. It will fit you. Not because it's small, but because you've expanded. You've stretched your heart, your vision, your soul. You've made room. And now, the fulfillment is meeting the space you created in faith. This is sacred arrival. Not rushed, not forced, not desperate, just inevitable. The universe is not wondering if you're ready. It's simply waiting for you to own that you are. So, own it. Not with noise, but with presence. Walk into rooms knowing you belong. Speak with the knowing that silence once taught you. Trust the pace of your path. Trust the slow bloom of your destiny. Trust that what's coming will recognize you, because you've finally recognized yourself. There's a silence that arrives when you no longer need to be convinced. When all the searching, all the asking, all the wrestling inside finally gives way to one quiet, unwavering truth. It's here. You are no longer reaching, you're receiving. Not in pieces, not in shadows, but in the fullness you've always been promised. And chosen one, that's the power you now carry. Not the potential of arrival, but the presence of it. You are no longer someone waiting for confirmation. You are confirmation. You're no longer chasing alignment. You are standing in it. And from this space, everything you touch becomes something new. The energy you carry reshapes the room. The words you speak carry weight. Your stillness commands respect. And none of it is forced. It simply is. Because you've stopped striving to be who you already are. What's ahead doesn't require more effort. It requires embodiment. It needs you to walk as if the miracle has already landed. To speak as if the breakthrough is already echoing. To show up with the kind of calm that only comes from knowing that you're backed by something eternal. Because you are. And that truth is the most unshakable foundation you will ever know. If you knew what was coming, you'd stop reacting and start responding. You'd stop scrambling and start standing. You'd realize that nothing can outrun divine timing, and nothing can replace what's meant for you. You wouldn't measure your life by the moment, but by the momentum. Because what's happening now isn't a highlight, it's a homecoming. You're not arriving at a destination. You're returning to who you've always been, underneath the noise. You've been tested by time, by silence, by shadow. But you weren't destroyed. You were distilled, refined down to the essence of who you were always meant to be. the version of you that no longer argues with fear, the version that no longer feels the need to prove or persuade, the version that simply knows and lets the knowing do the work. Chosen one, this isn't about what's next, it's about what's now. The opening has already begun. The momentum has already started. The pieces are in place, and the weight has been lifted. You're not standing at the edge anymore. You're already in the flow, and it's carrying you further than your feet ever could. You no longer have to force the future. You just have to follow the energy. You don't have to have the map. You are the map, and the path unfolds with every step of obedience. All that's required now is devotion, not desperation. Devotion to the version of yourself who knows that miracles don't need to be chased. They respond to vibration. They arrive when you become the environment for them. And you, chosen one, have become that environment. You've become the frequency of answered prayers, the resonance of divine readiness, the container of sacred fulfillment. So breathe. Let the weight fall off your shoulders. Let the urgency melt into peace. You've done enough. You've become enough. You are enough. The resistance has ended. The waiting has served its purpose. The lessons have been received. And now you get to live from a place of overflow instead of ache. The world may not understand what has shifted in you, but that's not your burden. Your only task is to stay connected to the truth, to move with grace, to carry your fire with reverence, to walk in the fullness of what has always been promised. You are no longer chasing light. You are the light. You're no longer praying for the moment. You are the moment. And from here forward, you will live like it. You will move like it. You will love like it. You will rise like it. Because everything that's coming, everything you were once afraid to claim, is now rushing toward you. Not because you fought for it, but because you finally stopped running from who you truly are.